Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CEW podcast. We finally have the new logo on the podcast stuff. You're gonna start seeing that, and we're just gonna roll right into it with the update part of stuff. I've already posted something on the community tab. I'm recording this on the 27th of February, so I have literally just put that on the community tab earlier today about just sort of March, what's going to be happening in March, and all of that. Case in point, March is going to be a very busy month for me. I've got a lot of units due in for my my diploma work. I've got a podcast to make, which isn't this. I've got another unit that's also due in that we don't know about yet. We're going to be running through that very, very shortly. I'm working on a film. There's a lot. There's a lot outside of out of core stuff that I need to focus on. But I'm still working on core stuff. I'm still trying to get all of that done, and I'm trying to make sure that I can give you guys some form of content this month. The goal is to have everything ready to start recording Fight Forever by the end of this month, at least, if not earlier. When I say the end of this month, I mean the end of March, because we're only like a couple days away from the beginning of March. The plan is to start recording it earlier, if possible, and to start uploading episodes of Mayhem and Explosion as soon as physically possible. But I will just say, it has been a very chaotic, I'd argue a very chaotic month in terms of February for not just me, but the people involved in the roster, the people that I get for promos, etc. It's been a very, very chaotic month, so as much as I would have hoped to have had more content out this month, it just wasn't on the cards, unfortunately, and it just happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But hopefully March is a bit different. Hopefully we can move on and March can be a very, very fruitful month, as well as hopefully April. That's it. We're just going to move right on with the podcast. And we're going to be talking about something that I have been sitting on for a very, very long time. And that is Into the Byronverse. I announced this all the way back in September, I believe, at Kingdom of Glory, that we were doing a big show called Into the Byronverse, which was going to have multiple Byrons fighting each other. It was going to be interesting. I was planning to have that out by Halloween, and my goodness, I just stopped working on it. I'll keep it real. Mainly because I just kind of had a moment where I was like, I don't know if this is an interesting idea. I'm still working on it. I have a release date in mind. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to make any empty promises, but I'm working on the card. I'm strengthening the card just a little bit because the original one wasn't that strong. I'm working on a couple new Byrons to add to the card. So I just want to say something as well. If you have any suggestions for a multiverse variant of Byron that we can go with, just let me know. Just let me know in the comments. Just let me know wherever. If you're in the Discord, let me know. If you follow the CEW network on Twitter, just at that and just say, hey, this version of Byron would be really fun to see. And if I agree, I'll do it. I'm not against listening to what other people want. And to be honest, I feel like that'd be really interesting. I've already taken some ideas from the peeps in the Discord when I mentioned it. I think it was like, I want to say like last week. I can't really remember. I think it was when I was doing EPW Sacrifice. So it would have been about a week ago, I think. Unless I'm tripping. No, it was about a week ago, yeah. So, yeah, so basically, Into the Byronverse is still coming. It's still on its way. I need to rethink it a bit, strengthen it up a bit, and I think we're going to be good. So, yeah, we'll get to it. Hopefully, hopefully I don't have to delay it any further, but we will see. So, now that that's out of the way, we are going to move on to the big topic of this podcast. It's core talk, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about building a character. And I don't mean as in gear, face textures, gimmick, kind of. It's more so about actually building a character. Now, character building is something that I will just do even when I'm not recording. I will just sit down, and sometimes when I'm working on things, I will think about CEW, certain characters, and I think about small little things. I'm a big fan of the little things. I'm a big fan of small things that help you figure out how your cores would react in certain situations, because there is always going to come a time, especially for me, where I will, if you're on the CEW roster, where I will approach you and I will go, hey, I have this really cool promo idea or this really cool segment idea where I'm going to need you to like cut a promo. It's about this. And I expect the peeps on my roster to have strong enough characters and fleshed out enough characters to be able to handle that and to just cut a promo and then just give that to me when either on the deadline or whenever it's done. That's what I expect. And I feel like that is a very common thing. I feel like a lot of people are there with their characters, but I just kind of want to talk a little bit about how you can think about building your character in a way that will help prepare you for any sort of scenario. And I think the big thing is just by asking yourself really, really weird questions about scenarios that your character would be in and how they'd react to that. So let's take Blake Payne as an example, the guy that you see on your screen right now. Blake Payne, we all know this. If you're someone that watches the channel, you watch the content. Blake Payne is our biggest heel. He is the epitome of egotistical. He is jealous. He is everything that a heel is, and arguably more. And he has so much nuance now to his character, It's not just about being the best wrestler like he was. And I'm not gonna spoiler alert too much. I'm not really even gonna give any spoilers as to what his new gimmick's gonna be, because if you follow the Blake Payne account on Twitter, yes, there's a Blake account because I like to be creative with things, and there's not always room on the network channel for small little vignettes, just because, some people don't necessarily like that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But if you followed the Blake Twitter, there is a video which, if I can, podcast first, I'm actually going to really edit this. I'm going to put that on screen for you now. Every year, I hear the phrase, new year, new me. And every year, I look at the people that say that, and I laugh. But maybe, just maybe, a new me is what there needs to be. So as you can see, Blake has teased a whole new gimmick, kind of. He said, like, new year, new me, and all of that good stuff, basically. And I'm not going to get too much into what that's going to be, but the last time we saw him, don't forget, he was saying that, he's the good guy in all of this. He knows what's happening with CEW. He knows that there's going to be a lot of big things that are going to be happening soon, but no one's going to believe him. And it's those nuances that have allowed me to build this character. And I feel like I might have derailed myself and gone a bit off track here. So let's get back into it. Asking yourself, as the character, weird questions that will help you build up that character. Now, luckily for me, Blake is in a ton of feds. There's a bunch of locker room chats, be it like Twitter group chats, Discord, channels, etc., where, people will just have interactions. And that has allowed me to really kind of up Blake's promo game, just Blake's character, Blake's talking ability as a whole, and it's allowed me to kind of shape his character a lot more. So sometimes you have to think of it from like simple scenarios. So let's just use this as an example. Blake Payne walks into a coffee shop. This isn't like Blake Payne the human being. This is Blake Payne the professional wrestler, because I'll just say this now, the character of Blake Payne, there is an off-screen version of him, kind of like an MJF in a way, that no one sees, but we won't get into that. I've just destroyed Blake's character already. He's probably on his way to try and eliminate this from ever happening. But, you know, Blake Payne walks into a coffee shop, he gets his order, and it's wrong. And I like to think this is kind of like the simple thing to kind of help really build up your character, is how does your character react to a coffee shop getting their order wrong? Now, for someone like Blake, it doesn't just end up berating the barista. It doesn't end there. No. Blake is the kind of guy who not only tells this person how bad of a job they've done, he's also the kind of guy that will threaten to complain on Yelp. He's the kind of guy that would ask for the entire order for free just because they messed up on one small thing. He'd probably want to speak to the manager. He's a bit like a Karen in that sort of sense. And I just think, again, it's the small questions that really just sort of help build up your character. It's small little scenarios that you can think of in your head that can really kind of help you picture the character that you're trying to portray on a core show, on a fed, in a promo, in a segment. It really helps you prepare for all kinds of situations, and it just makes your character a lot more three-dimensional. Because if you just go, they're a wrestler, that's it, this is their gimmick, this is kind of their character, don't get me wrong, that can still work, but at the same time, I don't know if it works fully. So I think the big thing, like I said, is to just think of scenarios in your head. And if you need me to list a couple scenarios, let's do it. So there's the coffee shop debacle where the barista gets your order wrong. What would your character do in that scenario? There's the, you know, they go to the local shop, like the grocery store or the supermarket, and they've forgotten their shopping list. How do they react to that? Do they just go in and just wing it, or do they go back, or do they just go, we don't need a list, where we're going we don't need lists? You know, to even more like extreme things, like they witness someone getting something stolen from them. Like, what do they do in that scenario? You know, think of it kind of like the MJF promo that he cut on Dynamite, where he was like, I switched seats with the girls so that the cops thought she was driving instead of me. It's small little things like that where you're like, my character would totally do this in this situation. That just really helps flesh out your character. And I feel like I'm going around in circles. Basically, just thinking of small things might not sound super crucial, but trust me, it really helps, at least from my experience, prepare you for anything that the Fed owners that you're working with, or just people who are part of creative teams, might approach you with. You know, so say for example, you know, you're used to being kind of like a big sort of like baby face. Say, you know, Byron, he's kind of like a baby face, but he's sort of not your generic, I'm gonna fight for you people every 5 seconds. He's kind of grown more to a, I'm gonna fight for myself kind of guy, but he still kind of fights for the people, almost. It's complicated with Byron at times. You know, if someone came to me and said, hey, we need you to cut a promo where, you know, you're not exactly gonna be super uber babyface, but, you know, you're not gonna be a heel, so you're not gonna be, like, ripping into your opponent too much. Can you do that? I feel like I could, because I know Byron's character, I know what he would and wouldn't say in that situation, and I kind of know how he'd be able to kind of toe the line between being a face and being a heel, kind of that tweener area that I feel like sometimes Byron does tend to tread in. But that's it, really. We're gonna keep this short and sweet because, you know what, podcasting, it doesn't necessarily need to be that long. But that has been the CEW podcast for March. Hopefully this doesn't come out at the end of the month like it did in February. And yeah, that's it, and I will see you all next time.